Sentinels' 2022 competitive campaign has officially ended after their loss to 100 Thieves in the NA/LCQ. This year has been a disappointing one for the previous #1 team in the world, with 0 international appearances this year. So what will happen to the current roster of Sentinels? And more importantly, will Sentinels as an organization even be around in the Valorant competitive landscape, as next year we'll see a new franchising system for the scene? Looking at Sentinels' roster, both the new additions, Zellsis and Shroud, are not fully attached to the team for the future, as Zellsis was on loan to the team, as well as Shroud only being on contract through the LCQ. So right now, both Zellsis and Shroud's future on the team is uncertain. If Sick does return to the active roster, then Zellsis will probably not have a spot on the team, as he fills the same role currently as the flex player, with primarily KO, Raze, and Sage play. This will lead Zellsis to find a spot on another franchise team next year. On the other hand, for Shroud, the future is more uncertain. He came out of retirement and showed that he can still keep pace with a competitive FPS team, and he is open to the possibility of returning next year if there's a good opportunity. But does that mean he will stay on Sentinels? With no other smokes player on their roster, Shroud could be a good addition to the team long term, if they continue to give him time to adjust to the competitive scene. Do I believe that will happen? No. With franchising coming around the corner, teams such as Sentinels will have a lot more talent to choose from, with other orgs having to pull out without franchising support. Which unfortunately means that for Shroud right now, he would not be the best available smokes player going into next season. That doesn't mean he has no chance of making a team. Actually, I think I know what probable franchise team should pick him up for 2023, which I'll discuss in a video coming real soon. But I don't see him fitting with the Sentinels roster. Alright, enough with the new additions. What about the core Sentinels? Shahzam, Dapr, Tenz? Sentinels wouldn't depart with one of their stars from the org's glory days. It might be beneficial for Sentinels to actually try to find a new fit for the team, and one of them just might depart the team by the end of their off-season, and that being Shahzam. With a lot of weight and criticism falling to the IGL, it seems like an easy answer to change the leadership of a losing team, but Shahzam has actually not done that bad of a job as an IGL this season. Shahzam has been able to move the team of constantly rotating players to a 5th place finish in LCQ, which for this team is pretty solid. But Shahzam is still the person that needs to go in order to save Sentinels for next season. They need a culture shift, as their team's culture since the beginning has felt old school, like late 2010 CSGO. This worked for them when the scene was young, but now Valorant has continued to shift further and further away from just aim duels and crazy op shots. Now it's one of the most hectic Zoomer-esque games of them all, with some of the main technical fundamentals from other FPSs not being as efficient as strats that teams like PaperX use. By changing Shahzam out with a new IGL, it could do wonders for the possible rebuild that Sentinels will have to go through in order to even compete next year. Will Shahzam be dropped? Probably not. It seems that right now, Sentinels will continue with their trio of Tenz, Dapr, and Shahzam, and will focus on filling the other 2 spots on the roster, as this trio is still all skilled and competitive players that could still be on the big stage with a good off-season rebuild. So will any of what I talked about matter? Will Sentinels be franchised? Well, almost certainly. People still know Sentinels and are still one of the biggest faces of NA Valorant. Riot would not be willing to lose an audience draw like this team, whether or not they're one of the best teams right now or not. Overall, I expect a lot of changes for Sentinels throughout the offseason, as they get ready for franchising and rebuilding to regain their previous glory. Also, if you want to see one of the issues I discussed here, you should check out my analysis video on Sentinels' match against the Guard.